Okie doke. So I'm Beck Lane. This is Catalyst and Company, and behind me, it's Catalyst and Company. Us working together to hopefully reach our goals, become better painters, become the artists that we've always wanted to be. Hopefully. You're gonna hear my new duplex neighbor next door. She's super, super nice. Her name is Addie. She's talking to one of her cats. This itty bitty little thing named Chimmy, who I'm in love with. But you're gonna hear her over there. She's home alone and just enjoying her new place. So anyway, behind me, that's sad. Behind me is a painting I've been working on for, a year, maybe two, off and on, off and on, off and on. And I'd kind of given up on it in a while, and really yesterday I was ready to take a knife to it, cut it out, pull it off the stretcher, and repurpose the stretcher and throw the painting in the garbage, because I had given both these women cat glasses, and they had little dots, and it was very crafty looking, and it just didn't have the feel of one of my paintings. I mean, the real feel. It felt like it actually looked a lot like a Gary Larson Far Side cartoon. Gary Larson Far Side cartoon with the cat glasses where everybody looks ridiculous and silly. So I searched and searched and searched and searched for the reference material, which I had lost. And, you know, the cat glasses became a thing in my head because I couldn't find this reference material, which is a photograph, an old photograph I got in a thrift store, and it's about this big. Well, I found it. I finally found it. But the image is so small and so blurry and so faded that it was hard, really, really hard to see. And here's a hint: if you're dealing with one of those images, take a photograph with your iPad or your phone and blow it up. Run it through a couple of programs, and maybe you'll get a crisper image. I couldn't get anything really crisp, but I got something that I could work from better. So yesterday I attacked it one last time. I said, this is it. If I don't get it today, I've been working on it this week, for about a week, off and on for about a week, along with a bunch of other stuff. But yesterday I was like, this is it. I'm not wasting any more time, any more energy, any more paint on this. If I don't figure it out, it's going in the garbage. And we got it. I think we got it. As I said, the images are really, really hard to see. That's my excuse. That was my excuse. But now, because I was able to run it through some imaging programs and get it a little bit clearer, I'm much, much, much happier. I've also been able to go through and widen this figure's shoulders a bit, highlight, make the color of his suit feel a little bit more normal than I had it. I've highlighted and darkened some of the central male figure on it too. And last week when I was working on it, I recolored the steps, which were a bright yellow. Redid some of the work in the bushes of the grass, as well as the background. I lightened up the screens in the background. So this has been a push or pull. This has been really frustrating. The painting and I have spent a lot of time arguing. I didn't throw anything at it, which is something I tend to do. I just get so mad. I take a brush or brushes and start throwing, and I yell at them. And here's a hint: it doesn't really help. It makes you feel a little bit better for a minute, but it doesn't really help. I didn't do it to that. I didn't stick a knife in it. I didn't take it off the stretcher. It is now almost exactly what I hoped it would be. Almost. The female faces are still a little cartoony, but really it's kind of the nature of the beast in this one. In the images, her head is almost craned over this way. She's painfully thin in the reference material. She was almost craned over this way. And they also had their hair set in a way that was almost visible, but not quite. I just decided to expand on their hair and give it a more natural feel. And I decided to, and I'm not sure if this is the correct way to approach it or not, but I decided to leave them. with some of their flaws, the flaws that I made as a painter. But they're untraditional looks, let's put it that way, with their slightly untraditional looks and natural hair. Also, it's kind of a commentary. As we know, I paint a lot of African American figures. And with African American women especially, they have to be a particular brand of beautiful. They just have to be particularly sexual. They have to be particularly appeasing. And I find it really offensive. I find it deeply offensive. Because white people can look as goofy as all get out, and it's no big deal. But it's hard. There's a line when you're painting of people who is marginalized, underrepresented, people who have been the brunt of the joke in the art world, or the brunt of the joke in society, or been abused. It's a very, 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 very hair-thin line to ride, where you could be just saying, this is how they look. This is how they look. And to be blunt, I have an African American artist friend whose work I adore, and he can paint the silliest looking, the goofiest looking kids. They're just plain out. They're just goofy and silly, and figures are elongated and thinned out, or too fat, or what they are. But it takes on a different context when a white woman is painting a race that she is not. Now, the cat glasses were really bothering me because they were cartoonish. And I don't want it to not just look, but feel like I'm making fun of these women. Because they're paper thin, a hair thin line where I could be making fun of them. Or, on the other side of that very thin line, we are representing people as people. We are representing African American women the way they are, or the way they were, because these people are long gone. The photograph was pretty old. So it's hard, when you're taking on a subject when you're taking on a subject that isn't wholly yours. We can all paint pears, we can paint apples. They're inanimate objects, and it doesn't matter our race. But when we're painting people who don't look like us, there is a very scary, very exciting line in the sand, and I'm not sure really how to talk about it, but I know how to approach it in my work. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean, Jelly Bean? So I did have them cartoonish before, and it felt a little bit like I was not just making fun of the women. I don't know how to put it into words right now. I mean, this is a delicate subject. This is an uncomfortable, awkward subject. But it's something that I feel should be verbalized. So we're not just like, okay, pretty black woman painted by a white woman. I revere the pretty black woman who's half naked, or whatever people do. When you're objectifying a people. You're objectifying a people. I find that repulsive. So to me, in the slight distortions, the colors, the lines, it's not, to me, it does not feel like an objectification of, and that these women are representing all African American women. Like I said, this is awkward, it's uncomfortable, and it's not something people talk about. But as one, I'm not objectifying them, but as one gallery owner said to me several years ago, there goes Abby, you're normalizing having black and brown people in the gallery. You're normalizing having African American people as subjects. What isn't normal about that? And why do we have to normalize? Well, because we have to be able to, as a white person, we have to be very conscious of that thin line where we are privileged to paint anything we want. We have to do it respectfully and with a deep honor toward the subject and with clear intent. Jerry Saltz, the New York Magazine art critic, put on his Twitter page something like the intent of the artist is moot or meaningless or something. What he was trying to say was that it doesn't matter what the artist's intent is in the work, because people are going to see it the way they see it. People are going to do with it as they please. And we went back and forth a little bit over it. I go back and forth with him periodically on things. I said, you're wrong. You're dead wrong. Artists need to have an intent. If they don't have an intent, they're flying blind. And especially in a subject like this, in the figure work, it doesn't really matter who I'm painting. It's just more subjects that are sensitive for a good reason, that we have to be, we have to hold that intent in our minds and in our hearts and keep it pure and clean. That intent is deathly important to the work. Not deathly important, but it's very important to the work. And I feel that Jerry Saltz said that as an art critic, and also as he calls himself, a failed artist. Not to denigrate Jerry, but he painted for 10 years. He painted based on one subject, and his work was okay. Some of it was very good. A couple of his illustrations were very good, but he quit. He gave up. He worked on one complicated ideological project for 10 years and burnt himself out. And then he quit and became a truck driver and a couple of other things, and now he's an art critic. So, you know what, grain of salt. We just take that, the intent doesn't matter, with a deep grain of salt, because it does. It's coming from someone who doesn't do the work, artists. Let's keep that in mind. Let's do lesson number 445 today. It really doesn't matter what anybody thinks, what any art critic says, what anyone thinks, what anyone states about your work, how they communicate about it. It doesn't matter whether it's good or bad. It doesn't really matter. It's nice when they like it. It's nice when it's positive, but we're not gonna, go up in flames over, because somebody says something dumb or imbecilic or insulting or demeaning. We're not going to go up in flames. It hurts, but it doesn't matter. So he's an art critic. He's not an actual working artist like so many people who criticize work are. They're not working artists, except that they're writers, which is an art. Okay, that just got complicated and convoluted. Anyway, this painting behind me is ready to go. If you're interested, you can let me know in the comment section below, or contact Jay at Blue Egg Gallery, and the phone number will be listed below, his contact information. Or you can contact Chasing Galleries right here in Sarasota, and their contact info and phone number will be listed down below. Also, if you'd like to help support, please, dear God, I'd like to help support Catalyst and Company. All the links are down below. There's a myriad of ways you can help. You can do monthly support through Patreon, where monthly support starts at $5 a month. Cash App and PayPal, where you can send tips, and the links for those are down below, as well as TeePublic. And I'm still working on new designs for TeePublic, but we've been doing okay through it. TeePublic, where you can get my images printed as posters, big prints, art prints. Their colors are great, by the way. T-shirts, coffee mugs, pillows, all the little household goods, notebooks, sketchbooks, all kinds of things. So there's a myriad of different ways that you can help keep Catalyst and Company with a roof over its head. But if you're interested in the painting, again, contact Jaya Louise at Blue Egg or Chasing Galleries here in Soda. Okay. Oh, and I forgot Max. Max, Grammy loves you. It's been forever since we did a Maxwell Minute. But Max, I love you. You are my sunshine, honey. I love you from my toes to the moon and bigger than the whole sky. All right, here we go. Ready, Carrie? We're going to say ciao now. Ciao now. Meow, meow, meow. Boink.